Before we begin the story, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. The rain hammers against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the law office, each drop a reminder that Lily Foster's life is falling apart one piece at a time. She sits in the leather chair, hands clasped tight in her lap, staring at the contract on the mahogany desk like it might bite her. The words blur together. Legal jargon she barely understands, but 3 phrases stand out in bold letters. 1-year marriage contract. Financial compensation upon completion. No romantic involvement permitted. Her lawyer, a kind woman named Patricia, leans forward with concern etched across her face. "Are you sure about this, Lily? Once you sign, you're bound to these terms." Lily swallows hard, her throat dry. She thinks about her mother in the hospital, about the medical bills stacking up like a prison wall she can't climb, about the eviction notice taped to their apartment door, about the 3 jobs she's working that still aren't enough. "Do I have a choice?" she asks quietly. Patricia's silence is answer enough. The door opens without warning, and the temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. Alexander Kane walks in, and Lily's breath catches despite herself. She's seen him twice before, both times briefly, but his presence is the kind that imprints itself on your memory. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a charcoal suit that probably costs more than her annual rent. His dark hair is perfectly styled, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass, and his eyes, slate gray and cold as winter, sweep over her with the interest one might give a piece of furniture. "Miss Foster," he says, his voice deep and clipped. His accent hints at old money and elite boarding schools. "Mr. Kane," Lily replies, forcing herself to meet his gaze. She won't give him the satisfaction of looking away first. He takes the seat across from her, moving with the controlled grace of someone who's never had to ask for anything twice. Patricia slides the contract toward him, and he scans it quickly, his expression unreadable. "Everything is in order," Patricia confirms. The terms are clear. 1 year of marriage. Miss Foster will live in your residence, attend necessary social functions, and maintain the appearance of a legitimate relationship. In exchange, she receives the agreed-upon sum at the end of the contract period. And the most important clause, Alexander adds, his eyes locking onto Lily's. No emotional attachment. This is a business arrangement, nothing more. Lily's jaw tightens. She wants to tell him she wouldn't dream of falling for someone so obviously made of ice and arrogance. Instead, she says simply, "I understand. Do you?" Alexander leans back, studying her with an intensity that makes her skin prickle. "Because I need to be very clear, Miss Foster. I'm not looking for a wife in the traditional sense. I'm looking for someone to solve a problem. My grandmother's will stipulates I must be married to inherit her portion of the company. Once that year is up, we part ways. You get your money, I get my company, and we both move on with our lives. No complications." Lily nods, even as something in his tone makes her chest tighten. He talks about people like they're chess pieces, movable, disposable. "It sounds perfect," she says, injecting false brightness into her voice. "When do we start?" 3 days, Alexander replies. "We'll have a small civil ceremony. Immediate family only on my side. You're welcome to invite yours if you wish." Lily thinks of her mother, too weak to leave the hospital bed. "No," she says softly. "Just me is fine." Alexander's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Brief, unreadable. Then it's settled. He produces a pen from his jacket, signs the contract with bold, decisive strokes, and slides it across to her. "Your turn, Miss Foster." The pen feels heavy in Lily's hand. She stares at the signature line, at the place where her name will bind her to a year of pretending, of living with a stranger, of being close to someone while being required to feel nothing. It's absurd. It's desperate. It's the only option she has. She signs. The ink dries quickly, sealing her fate. Patricia collects the documents, murmuring something about filing them with the court. Alexander stands, buttoning his jacket. "I'll have my assistant send you the details. The ceremony is at 2 in the afternoon. Don't be late." He walks out without another word, leaving Lily sitting in the sudden quiet. She exhales slowly, her hands shaking now that he's gone. "What have I just done?" she whispers. Patricia places a gentle hand on her shoulder. "What you had to do, dear. Just remember, it's only a year." "Only a year," Lily repeats, but sitting there in the empty office, listening to the rain, she can't shake the feeling that she's just made a deal with the devil. 3 days later, Lily stands in front of a mirror in a small room at City Hall, adjusting the simple white dress she bought from a department store clearance rack. It's nothing like the wedding dress she imagined as a little girl, all lace and dreams and forever. This dress is practical, unremarkable, perfect for a marriage that means nothing. Sophie, her best friend, and the only person she told about this insanity, fusses with Lily's hair. "Are you really going through with this? There's still time to run." "And go where?" Lily asks. "Back to my studio apartment that I can't afford? Back to watching my mom die because I can't pay for treatment?" Sophie's face crumples. "I know. I just hate that it's come to this." "Me too," Lily admits. "But it's only a year. I can survive anything for a year." "Can you survive him?" Sophie asks pointedly. "That man looks like he'd freeze hell over just for fun." Lily laughs despite herself. "I'm not planning to get close enough to find out. Remember the contract?" "No feelings," Sophie snorts. "Good luck with that. You always did fall for the emotionally unavailable ones." "Not this time," Lily says firmly. "This is business." A knock at the door interrupts them. A court official pokes her head in. "They're ready for you." Lily takes one last look in the mirror. The woman staring back at her is pale, eyes too wide, but determined. She can do this. She has to do this. The ceremony room is small and sterile, nothing like the romantic setting she once dreamed of. Alexander stands near the front, talking quietly with a stunning older woman, who must be his mother based on the bone structure. When Lily enters, he turns, and for just a second, something crosses his face. Surprise? Appreciation? But it's gone so fast, she thinks she imagined it. "You look appropriate," he says when she reaches him. Lily bites back a retort. "Thank you. You look very expensive." His lips twitch, almost a smile. The officiant, a bored-looking man in his 50s, gestures for them to begin. This is the shortest wedding ceremony in history. No vows beyond the legally required. No rings, Lily realizes with a start, until Alexander pulls out 2 simple platinum bands. "For appearances," he explains quietly, sliding one onto her finger. "It fits perfectly." "How did you know my size?" she whispers. "I'm thorough," is all he says. "By the power vested in me, the officiant drones. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Lily's heart stops. They didn't discuss this. Alexander's jaw tightens, and she sees the same realization dawn in his eyes. But appearances. Always appearances. He steps closer, and Lily tilts her face up, her pulse hammering. His hand cups her cheek, surprisingly gentle, and then his lips brush hers. It's brief, chaste, completely impersonal. And yet, Lily feels the contact all the way to her toes. When he pulls back, his expression is carefully neutral, but his thumb traces her cheekbone once before he drops his hand. "Congratulations," his mother says, though her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "Welcome to the family, dear." "Thank you," Lily manages. She has the distinct feeling this woman sees right through the charade. The paperwork is signed. Photos are taken for legal documentation. And just like that, Lily Foster becomes Lily Kane, Mrs. Alexander Kane, a wife in name only. As they leave City Hall, Alexander's hand rests on the small of her back, a gesture that probably looks affectionate to outsiders. To Lily, it feels like a brand, a reminder of the cage she's just walked into, even if the bars are made of platinum and promises. Alexander's penthouse is everything Lily expected, and nothing she was prepared for. The car ride had been silent, tension thick between them, and when they pulled up to the building in the heart of the city, Lily's stomach had twisted. She doesn't belong here, not in this world of doormen and marble lobbies and elevators that probably cost more than her childhood home. The penthouse itself is enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer a view of the city that takes her breath away. The furniture is modern and expensive, all clean lines and neutral colors. It looks like something from a magazine. Beautiful, cold, unlived in. "Your room," Alexander says, pushing open a door down the hall. Lily steps inside and finds a space bigger than her entire previous apartment. A king-sized bed, a walk-in closet, a bathroom with a tub she could swim in. It's stunning. It's also clearly a guest room. "We're not sharing?" she asks before she can stop herself. Alexander's expression hardens. "Did you want to?" "No," Lily says quickly, her cheeks heating. "I just assumed for appearances." "We live alone," Alexander says. "No one will know what sleeping arrangements we have. This is your space. My room is at the other end of the hall. We'll maintain our privacy." "Right," Lily says. "Of course. Makes sense." Alexander checks his watch. "I have a dinner meeting tonight." "Business. You're welcome to explore, order food, do whatever you like. The kitchen is stocked. There's a tablet on the counter with all the building amenities and delivery options." He's already walking away when Lily calls out, "Will this happen a lot?" "You leaving for business?" He pauses, his back to her. "I'm a busy man, Miss Foster." "Mrs. Kane," Lily corrects quietly. "We're married now, remember?" His shoulders tense. "Right." "Mrs. Kane?" "Yes, I'll be gone frequently. I suggest you find ways to occupy your time." And with that, he's gone, the front door closing with a soft click that somehow sounds final. Lily stands in the massive, silent penthouse and feels more alone than she ever has in her life. She explores slowly, running her fingers over expensive surfaces, opening cabinets filled with dishes she's afraid to touch. The fridge is indeed stocked, but with things like truffle oil and imported cheeses and vegetables she can't even name. There's a wine fridge with bottles that probably cost thousands of dollars each. Lily closes it quickly and orders pizza from a chain restaurant, feeling like a fraud. While she waits for the delivery, she calls the hospital. Her mother is stable, the nurse reports, resting comfortably. The new treatment plan is showing promising results. "Thank you," Lily whispers, tears pricking her eyes. "Thank you so much." When she hangs up, she lets herself cry. Just for a minute. Just to release the pressure building in her chest. She sold her freedom, her dignity, a year of her life. But her mother is getting treatment. That has to be enough. The pizza arrives, and Lily eats it sitting on the floor by the windows, watching the city lights blink on as darkness falls. She wonders where Alexander is right now, who he's meeting, if he ever thinks about the fact that he now has a wife waiting at home. Probably not. This is just business to him. She finishes 2 slices and saves the rest, years of poverty making it impossible to waste food even now. Then she showers in the ridiculous bathroom, puts on her own worn pajamas because she doesn't know where Alexander keeps his things and isn't about to go searching, and climbs into the massive bed. It's the most comfortable thing she's ever slept on. She hates it. She lies awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, listening for the sound of Alexander coming home. He doesn't. At least, not before she finally falls into restless sleep. When Lily wakes, sunlight streams through the windows she forgot to cover. She stumbles out of bed, disoriented, and follows the smell of coffee to the kitchen. Alexander sits at the breakfast bar, immaculate in a navy suit, reading something on his tablet. "Morning," Lily says, her voice rough with sleep. He glances up briefly. "Good morning. There's coffee in the pot. Help yourself." Lily pours a cup, adding cream and sugar, and leans against the counter. "Did you come home last night?" "Yes," Alexander says without looking up. "Late. I didn't want to wake you." "How considerate," Lily mutters. He finally looks at her then, really looks at her, and she remembers she's in her oldest pajamas, her hair a mess, no makeup. She probably looks like a homeless person who wandered into a luxury penthouse by mistake. His expression doesn't change. "We need to discuss expectations," he says, "for the coming year." "Okay," Lily says, wrapping both hands around her mug. Alexander sets down his tablet and turns to face her fully. "First, public appearances. We'll need to attend various events together. Charity galas, business dinners, family gatherings. I expect you to dress appropriately and behave as a proper wife would." "I don't have a wardrobe for galas," Lily points out. Alexander waves a dismissive hand. "I'll arrange for a stylist. She'll take care of everything. You just need to show up and smile. Second, my family. My mother is suspicious. She'll likely try to test you, ask questions, gauge if this is real. You'll need to be convincing." "We'll need to be convincing," Lily corrects. "This isn't all on me." "Fair enough," Alexander concedes, "which means we need to know each other better. Basic facts. Histories. The kind of things a real couple would know." Lily nods slowly. "When do we start?" "Now," Alexander says. He pulls out a folder, because of course he has a folder. "Tell me about yourself. Where you grew up, your family, your education." Lily bristles at the clinical approach, but she answers. "Raised by a single mother in a working-class neighborhood. Scholarship to State University. Degree in English literature that's done me absolutely no good in the real world. Currently working 3 jobs to make ends meet. Or I was until this." Alexander makes notes on his tablet. "Siblings?" "None," Lily says. "Just me and my mom." "Father?" "Gone before I was born," Lily says flatly. She doesn't elaborate, and something in her tone must warn him not to push. Alexander nods. "My turn. I grew up here in the city. Boarding school, then Yale. MBA from Harvard. Took over the family company 5 years ago when my father retired." He speaks like he's reciting a resume, and Lily supposes he is. "Siblings?" she asks. "One sister," Alexander says. "Caroline. She lives in Paris. Artist. We're not close." "Why not?" "None of your concern," he says coldly. Lily sets down her mug with more force than necessary. "If I'm supposed to be convincing as your wife, maybe I should know why you're estranged from your sister." "We're not estranged," Alexander says. "We simply have different priorities. She chose art over family responsibility. I chose to honor my obligations." "Sounds lonely," Lily observes. His jaw tightens. "I don't need your psychoanalysis, Mrs. Kane. I need you to memorize facts so we can sell this to the people who matter." "Fine," Lily says. "What's your favorite color?" "What?" "It's a simple question," Lily says. "If we're married, I should know your favorite color." "Gray," Alexander says after a pause. "Of course it is," Lily mutters. "Mine's yellow. Like sunshine. Warmth. Things that are the opposite of you." Alexander's eyes flash. "Careful, Mrs. Kane. I'm paying you quite well to tolerate me for a year. You could at least pretend to be civil." "You're right," Lily says, suddenly exhausted. "I'm sorry." This is all just very strange. Alexander's expression softened slightly. I know. But we made an agreement. Let's try to make this work, for both our sakes. Lily nods. They spend the next hour going over details. Allergies, food preferences, work schedules. It's the most businesslike conversation about marriage Lily's ever imagined. When Alexander finally leaves for his office, Lily feels wrung out. She cleans up the kitchen, wanders the penthouse again, and realizes with sinking dread that she has nothing to do. She's Mrs. Alexander Kane now, and she has absolutely no idea who that person is supposed to be. The first 2 weeks of marriage pass in a strange blur. Lily sees Alexander mostly at breakfast, sometimes at dinner if he comes home at a reasonable hour. They're polite, distant, like roommates who happen to share a last name and a legal document. The stylist Alexander hired, a whirlwind of a woman named Margot, descends on the penthouse with racks of designer clothes and opinions about everything from Lily's hair to her posture. "Darling, you're lovely," Margot says, circling Lily like a predator. "But we need polish, sophistication. You're a billionaire's wife now. You need to look the part." "I feel like a doll being dressed up," Lily mutters, as Margot pins her into yet another gown. "That's exactly what you are, dear," Margot says cheerfully. "Now hold still." The first major event is a charity gala, and Lily is terrified. She's never been to anything like this. The dress Margot chose is stunning, a deep emerald silk that clings to her curves and makes her eyes pop. Her hair is swept up in an elegant twist, her makeup flawless. When she emerges from her room, Alexander is waiting by the door in a tuxedo that makes him look like he stepped out of a film. He stares at her for a long moment, and Lily's heart pounds. "Will I do?" she asks, aiming for light, but landing somewhere near desperate. "You look perfect," Alexander says quietly. Something in his voice makes her shiver. In the car, Alexander briefs her like she's heading into battle. Smile, but not too much. Be friendly, but not familiar. Don't discuss our relationship in detail. If anyone asks how we met, we tell them it was through mutual friends. Got it? Got it, Lily repeats, wishing she could open the window. The ballroom is overwhelming. Crystal chandeliers, live orchestra, people in clothes that cost more than cars. Lily feels like an imposter, certain everyone can see through her. But Alexander's hand is steady on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. Alexander, darling, a silver-haired woman in diamonds coos. And this must be your new bride. We've all been dying to meet her. Mrs. Ashford, Alexander says smoothly. May I introduce my wife, Lily? Charmed, Mrs. Ashford says, though her eyes are calculating as they sweep over Lily. Such a whirlwind romance. You must tell me everything. Lily opens her mouth, panic rising, but Alexander jumps in. When you know, he says, his arms sliding around Lily's waist. I saw Lily and knew I couldn't let her get away. The lie is smooth as silk, and Mrs. Ashford eats it up. How romantic. You're a lucky girl, dear. I know, Lily manages, leaning into Alexander's side. I still can't believe he chose me. The night continues in a similar vein. Introductions, small talk, questions that feel like tests. Lily plays her part, laughing at the right moments, touching Alexander's arm with practiced affection. It's exhausting. It's also strangely intoxicating. Every time Alexander looks at her with warmth in his eyes, even though she knows it's fake, something in her chest tightens. During dinner, they're seated with several business associates and their spouses. The conversation turns to investments and market trends, topics Lily knows nothing about. She stays quiet, sipping her wine, feeling increasingly out of place. You're awfully silent, Mrs. Kane, one of the men observes. Don't you have opinions on your husband's business dealings? I leave the business to Alexander, Lily says carefully. I have my own interests. Such as, the man presses. There's something condescending in his tone that sets Lily's teeth on edge. Literature, Lily says. I'm particularly interested in modern feminist narratives and their intersection with economic theory. The table goes quiet. The man blinks. I didn't realize. Most people don't, Lily says sweetly. They hear English degree and assume I just read romance novels. Though there's nothing wrong with romance novels. They're a multi-billion-dollar industry largely driven by women, which is fascinating from an economic standpoint. Alexander's hand finds hers under the table, squeezes once. When Lily glances at him, there's something like admiration in his eyes. Well said, he murmurs. The conversation moves on, and Lily feels a small spark of victory. Later, they dance. Alexander pulls her onto the floor with easy confidence, one hand settling on her waist, the other taking hers. You didn't mention you had strong opinions on feminist literature, he says, as they sway to the music. You didn't ask, Lily replies. Alexander's lips quirk. Touché. You handled yourself well tonight. I'm surprised? He shakes his head. Impressed. There's a difference. Lily's not sure what to do with that. She's acutely aware of how close they are, of the warmth of his hand on her waist, of how natural this feels despite being completely choreographed. You're a good actor, she says quietly. So are you, Alexander replies. His gray eyes hold hers, and for a moment, the ballroom fades away. It's just them, moving together, close enough that Lily can smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy. She wonders what it would be like if this were real, if he actually wanted her, not just her compliance. The thought is dangerous, and she pushes it away. On the drive home, they're both quiet. Lily stares out the window, replaying the night. You did well, Alexander says suddenly. Thank you. So did you, Lily says. We're a convincing couple. We are, Alexander agrees. But there's something in his voice, something almost regretful, that makes Lily look at him. His expression is unreadable in the dim light. Back at the penthouse, they linger in the entryway. Good night, Lily says. Good night, Alexander replies. Neither of them moves. The air between them is charged with something Lily doesn't want to name. Finally, Alexander steps back. I have an early meeting. I should sleep. Right, Lily says. Of course. She goes to her room and lies awake for hours, her mind spinning. This is just a contract, just business. So why does it feel like something more? The next morning, there's a note on the kitchen counter in Alexander's sharp handwriting. You were magnificent last night. Lily presses the note to her chest, hating how much those words mean to her. She's in trouble. Deep, complicated trouble. And she's only 2 weeks into this arrangement. Over the following month, they settle into a routine. Alexander is gone most days, buried in work. Lily fills her time with visits to her mother, whose health is improving daily thanks to the treatment. She also starts volunteering at a literacy nonprofit, needing something to do with her brain. The galas and dinners continue. Each time, Lily plays the role of devoted wife. Each time, it gets harder to remember it's not real, especially when Alexander looks at her with something like fondness, when he laughs at her dry jokes, when his hand lingers on her back a second too long. They're careful not to cross lines. They maintain their separate rooms, their separate lives. But the wall between them is developing cracks. Like the night Lily finds Alexander on the terrace at 2 a.m, staring out at the city with a glass of whiskey. She should leave him alone. Instead, she joins him. Can't sleep? She asks. Too much on my mind, Alexander says. The company, the board, my grandmother's legacy. Sometimes I wonder if it's all worth it. Lily doesn't answer immediately. Then she says, Is that why you needed a wife? To prove something? To prove I'm responsible, Alexander says bitterly. Stable. Worthy of carrying on the family name. My grandmother thought I was too focused on work, too closed off. She wanted me to have a partner. So I got one. A fake one, Lily says quietly. Alexander looks at her then. Really looks at her. Is it still fake? He asks. The question hangs in the night air, dangerous and honest. Lily's heart pounds. She should say yes, should laugh it off, should remember the contract with its bold letters. No romantic involvement permitted. Instead, she says, I don't know. Alexander's hand covers hers on the railing. His touch is warm, solid, real. Neither do I, he admits. They stand there in the darkness, hands touching, both of them terrified of what comes next. Because if this isn't fake anymore, if they've crossed that invisible line, then the contract is already broken, and neither of them knows how to fix it. The morning after their late-night conversation, Alexander is gone before Lily wakes. She finds another note. Had to fly to Singapore. Back in 3 days. The penthouse feels emptier than usual. Lily tells herself she's not disappointed, that she doesn't miss his presence at breakfast. She's lying. She spends the days visiting her mother, whose improvement continues to amaze the doctors. You look different, her mother observes from her hospital bed. Her color is better, her eyes brighter. Lily helps her sit up, adjusting pillows. Different how? Happy, her mother says, but also confused. What's going on, sweetheart? Lily hasn't told her mother about the contract, only that she married someone who could help with the medical bills. It's complicated, Lily admits. I'm married to someone I barely know, someone who's paying me to be his wife, and I think I'm starting to have real feelings for him. Her mother takes her hand, squeezing gently. Does he feel the same? I don't know, Lily whispers. Sometimes I think yes. The way he looks at me, the things he says, but then he pulls away, reminds me this is temporary. I don't know what to believe. Maybe you should ask him, her mother suggests. Communication tends to work better than guessing. Lily laughs weakly. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise, her mother says with a smile. You just never listened. That evening, Sophie drags Lily out for dinner. You've been cooped up in that penthouse too much, Sophie declares over pasta. You need normalcy. This is normal? Lily gestures around the upscale restaurant. Sophie rolls her eyes. You know what I mean. Real conversation. Real life. Not playing pretend with Mr. Tall, Dark, and emotionally constipated. It's not all pretend anymore, Lily admits. Sophie nearly chokes on her wine. What? I think I'm falling for him, Lily says quietly. God, Sophie, I know it's stupid. I know it's exactly what I wasn't supposed to do. But every time he looks at me, every time we talk, it feels real. It feels like maybe he's falling too. Sophie sets down her glass carefully. Honey, I need to ask you something hard. What if he's not? What if this is all still an act to him, and you're the only one catching feelings? Then I'm screwed, Lily says, because I have 10 months left on this contract, and I'm already in too deep. You need to protect your heart, Sophie says firmly. Set boundaries. Remember why you're really there. For the money. For your mom. Don't let him hurt you because you forgot it's all fake. But it doesn't feel fake, Lily insists. The way he touches me. The things he says when no one's around. Last night on the terrace, he asked if it was still fake. He admitted he doesn't know either. That night changes everything, Sophie says. Or it changes nothing, depending on what you both do next. Lily knows Sophie is right. When Alexander returns from Singapore, they need to talk. Really talk. No more dancing around the truth. 3 days later, Lily is curled up on the couch reading when the front door opens. Alexander walks in looking exhausted, his tie loosened, circles under his eyes. "Welcome back," Lily says, setting down her book. "How was the trip?" "Productive," Alexander says. He drops his briefcase and sits heavily on the opposite end of the couch. "And exhausting. I barely slept." "Did you eat?" Lily asks. Alexander shakes his head. Lily stands. "I'll make you something." "You don't have to," Alexander starts, but she's already heading to the kitchen. 20 minutes later, she returns with scrambled eggs, toast, and coffee. It's simple, but it's what she knows how to make. Alexander stares at the plate like it's a foreign object. "When was the last time someone cooked for you?" Lily asks softly. "I don't remember," Alexander admits. He takes a bite, and something in his expression softens. "This is good." "Thank you." They eat in comfortable silence, and Lily realizes this is the most domestic moment they've shared. When Alexander finishes, he leans back, studying her. "I missed this," he says. "Missed what?" "Being here. With you." The confession makes Lily's heart skip. "I missed you too," she admits. Alexander's eyes darken. "Lily, we need to talk about what's happening between us." "I know," Lily says. She's been dreading this conversation and desperate for it in equal measure. "Before we do," Alexander says, "there's something you need to know. The reason I needed this arrangement, it's not just about my grandmother's will." Lily sits up straighter. "What do you mean?" "5 years ago, I was engaged," Alexander says. "Really engaged. Her name was Victoria. Society darling, perfect pedigree, everything my family wanted. We were 2 weeks from the wedding when I found out she'd been cheating on me for months with one of my business rivals." Lily's chest tightens. "Alexander, I'm so sorry." "The worst part wasn't the betrayal," Alexander continues. "It was realizing she never loved me. She loved my money, my status, what I could give her. But me, the actual person, I was just a means to an end. After that, I decided I was done with real relationships. If marriage was just a transaction, I'd make it an honest one. Hence the contract." "So you've been protecting yourself," Lily says quietly. "Can you blame me?" Alexander asks. "But then you came along, and everything I thought I knew stopped making sense." Lily's breath catches. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying the contract was supposed to keep this simple," Alexander says. "No feelings, no complications. But I broke that rule weeks ago. The moment you stood up to that pompous investor at the gala. The night you made me eggs at 2 in the morning when I came home stressed. The way you read with your feet tucked under you. I tried to ignore it, but I can't anymore." Lily's eyes fill with tears. "I broke the rule too," she whispers. "I tried not to, but you make it impossible. You're not what I expected. You're cold and difficult and infuriating, but you're also kind, in ways you don't let people see. And I'm terrified, because in 10 months this ends, and I don't know how I'm supposed to walk away from you." Alexander moves closer, cupping her face in his hands. "What if you didn't have to? What if we rewrote the contract?" "What?" Lily's voice shakes. "We made the rules," Alexander says. "We can change them. I don't want this to be fake anymore, Lily. I want it to be real." "But the money," Lily says. "Your company. The will. It's not about that anymore," Alexander says fiercely. "Yes, I needed a wife on paper to satisfy my grandmother's conditions. But somewhere along the way, I started wanting a real wife. I started wanting you." Lily's tears spill over. "You can't just decide that. This was supposed to be temporary." "I'm not deciding alone," Alexander says. "I'm asking. Do you want this to be real? Do you want us to be real?" "Yes," Lily breathes. "God help me, yes." Alexander kisses her, And this time, it's nothing like their wedding kiss. This is deep and desperate and absolutely real. His hands tangle in her hair, pulling her closer. Lily's fingers clutch his shirt, anchoring herself to him. When they break apart, both breathing hard, Alexander rests his forehead against hers. "No more contract," he murmurs. "Just us." "Just us," Lily agrees. But even as she says it, a small voice in the back of her mind whispers a warning. What if this doesn't last? What if it falls apart like his last relationship? What if she's making the biggest mistake of her life? But looking into Alexander's eyes, feeling his arms around her, Lily decides some risks are worth taking. For the next few weeks, everything changes. Alexander comes home earlier. They have dinner together, real conversations that stretch late into the night. He tells her about his childhood, about the pressure of being the heir, about his strained relationship with his father, who valued the company over everything else. Lily tells him about growing up poor, about her mother's strength, about her dreams of being a writer that she set aside to survive. They learn each other's rhythms. Alexander discovers that Lily hums when she's concentrating. Lily learns that Alexander likes his coffee black, but his tea with honey. They watch terrible reality TV together, and Alexander's commentary makes Lily laugh until her sides hurt. They're building something real, something that terrifies them both. But there are moments when Lily catches Alexander staring at her with an expression she can't read. Moments when he pulls away just when they're getting close. Like the night Lily falls asleep on the couch, and she wakes to find Alexander carrying her to bed. She's half awake, arms around his neck, and she murmurs, "Stay with me." Alexander tenses. "Lily, we shouldn't rush this." "Why not?" Lily asks, more awake now. "We're married. We just admitted we have real feelings. What are we waiting for?" "I need to be sure," Alexander says. He sets her on the bed, stepping back. "That this isn't just the situation making us feel things that aren't really there. That stings." Lily sits up. "You think I'm confused? You think I don't know my own feelings?" "I think we both got caught up in playing pretend," Alexander says carefully. "I think we need to take this slow. Make sure it's real before we take steps we can't undo." "We already took steps we can't undo," Lily says, hurt bleeding into her voice. "We told each other the truth. We kissed. We decided to make this real. Now you're pulling away again." "I'm being cautious," Alexander says. "Is that so wrong?" "It is when it makes me feel like you don't trust this," Lily says. "Don't trust us. Or maybe you don't trust me." "That's not fair," Alexander says, his voice hardening. "You know what happened with Victoria. You know why I have walls." "Then maybe you shouldn't have asked me to tear down mine," Lily says. She feels tears threatening and hates herself for it. "I let you in, Alexander. I broke my own rules, risked my own heart. And now you're telling me to wait, to be patient, while you figure out if I'm worth the risk." "Lily, that's not what I meant," Alexander starts, but Lily shakes her head. "Just go," she says quietly. "Please." Alexander hesitates, conflict clear on his face. Then he leaves, closing the door softly behind him. Lily lies in the dark, tears streaming down her face, wondering how something that felt so right has gone so wrong so quickly. The next morning is awkward. They avoid each other's eyes over breakfast. Alexander leaves for work without his usual goodbye. Lily spends the day angry and hurt and confused. That evening, there's a family dinner at Alexander's mother's house. They're expected to attend, to keep up appearances. Lily almost refuses, but she remembers her contract. She has obligations. So she puts on a dress, does her makeup, and when Alexander picks her up, they drive in tense silence. Mrs. Kane's home is a mansion, all old money elegance. She greets them at the door with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Lily, darling, how lovely to see you." Alexander. Dinner is torture. Mrs. Kane asks probing questions about their relationship, how they spend their time, what their plans for the future are. Children, perhaps? Lily nearly chokes on her wine. Alexander's jaw is tight. We're taking things one day at a time, Mother, he says. At your age, you don't have the luxury of time, Mrs. Kane says coolly. The Kane name needs an heir. This isn't the Victorian era, Alexander says sharply. We'll have children if and when we decide to, not because of some family obligation. Mrs. Kane's eyes narrow. Everything is about family obligation, Alexander. Or have you forgotten why you married in the first place? The words hang in the air like a grenade. Lily feels like she's been slapped. Alexander's face goes pale. Mother, that's enough. Is it though? Mrs. Kane continues. Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out? A marriage that comes out of nowhere, to a girl with no connections, no family wealth. It's rather obvious this is about your grandmother's will. Lily stands abruptly, her chair scraping the floor. Excuse me, she says, her voice shaking. I need some air. She walks out before anyone can stop her, finding her way to a terrace overlooking the garden. The cold air hits her face, but it doesn't stop the tears. She's so stupid. So incredibly stupid. Of course Mrs. Kane knows. Of course everyone probably knows. She and Alexander thought they were being so clever, but they've been transparent from the start. She hears footsteps behind her. I'm sorry, Alexander says quietly. She had no right to say that. She's right, though, Lily says, not turning around. This marriage is a lie. Maybe not entirely anymore, Alexander says. He moves to stand beside her. What we've been building, that's real. Is it? Lily asks. Or is that just what we tell ourselves to make the lying easier? I meant what I said, Alexander insists, about wanting this to be real. But your mother's right. We rushed into something we didn't think through. We tried to turn a business arrangement into a real relationship, and maybe that was naive. So what are you saying? Lily asks, finally looking at him. That we should go back to just being fake? I'm saying maybe we need to be honest about what this is, Alexander says. We have 10 months left on our contract. After that, we can decide if there's something worth pursuing, or we can part ways as planned. Lily feels like he's just driven a knife into her chest. You want to wait 10 more months to decide if I'm worth it? She asks, her voice breaking. That's not what I said, Alexander protests. It's exactly what you said, Lily says. Last night you wanted to take it slow. Tonight you want to put us on hold until the contract ends. I'm trying to be smart, Alexander says, to protect both of us. By pushing me away, Lily says, by making me feel like I'm not enough, like I'll never be enough. Lily, please. Alexander reaches for her, but she steps back. Don't, she says. I can't do this right now. I need to go. Where? Alexander asks, confused. It's late. Away from here, Lily says. Away from you. She walks past him, heading for the door. Alexander follows. Lily, be reasonable. We're in the middle of nowhere. How are you going to get home? I'll call a car, Lily says. I'll figure it out. Just leave me alone. She makes it to the front entrance before the tears really start. Alexander's mother appears in the doorway. Running away? She asks coolly. Very mature. You don't know anything about me, Lily says, anger cutting through her pain. You have no idea what I've been through or why I'm here. I know you're using my son, Mrs. Kane says. Whatever pretty lies you've told each other, this marriage is a transaction. Don't pretend otherwise. At least I was honest about it being a transaction, Lily says. Your son is the one who changed the rules, who made me believe we could have something real, and now he's pulling away again because he's too scared to actually let someone in. The words feel like a betrayal even as she says them, but they're true. Mrs. Kane's expression shifts slightly. something like surprise crossing her face. Before she can respond, Alexander appears. "That's enough," he says. "Mother, go inside." "Lily, wait." But Lily is done waiting. Her car arrives, and she climbs in without looking back. Through the window, she sees Alexander standing in the doorway, looking lost. "Good," she thinks bitterly. "Let him feel what I'm feeling." The penthouse is dark and silent when Lily gets home. She goes straight to her room, closes the door, and lets herself fall apart. She cries for the girl who thought she could handle a fake marriage without getting hurt, for the woman who was stupid enough to fall for a man who can't let go of his past, for the future that looked so bright just hours ago and now seems impossibly far away. She must fall asleep eventually, because she wakes to sunlight and the sound of her phone buzzing. Multiple texts from Sophie, 1 from her mother, and 3 from Alexander. "I'm sorry. I handled that badly. Can we talk?" Lily ignores them all. She showers, dresses, and leaves the penthouse before Alexander can come home. She needs space, distance, time to figure out what she wants. She goes to the hospital, sits with her mother, and tells her everything. "I fell in love with him," Lily says, tears streaming down her face. "I know I shouldn't have. I know it was the one thing I wasn't supposed to do. But I did, and now it's all falling apart." Her mother listens quietly, stroking Lily's hair like she did when Lily was a child. "Do you think he loves you too?" her mother asks. "I don't know," Lily admits. "Sometimes I think yes. But then he pulls away, and I wonder if I'm just seeing what I want to see." "Love is scary," her mother says, "especially for people who've been hurt before. It sounds like Alexander has walls for a reason. So do you. Maybe that's why you found each other." "But walls keep people out," Lily says. "How are we supposed to build something real when we're both so afraid?" "You take them down brick by brick," her mother says simply. "And you trust that the other person is doing the same." "But what if he's not?" Lily asks. "What if he stays closed off forever?" "Then you have to decide if you can live with that," her mother says, "or if you deserve someone who's willing to be vulnerable with you." Lily knows the answer. She deserves someone who will fight for them, who won't pull away every time things get hard. The question is whether Alexander can be that person. She spends the afternoon wandering the city, thinking. By evening, she's exhausted and decides to go back to the penthouse. When she opens the door, Alexander is there. He's sitting on the couch, still in his suit from work, his head in his hands. He looks up when she enters, and the rawness in his expression stops her in her tracks. "We need to talk," they say simultaneously. Alexander stands. "You first." Lily takes a deep breath. "I can't do this anymore. The back and forth, the pushing and pulling. You say you want this to be real, but the moment I get close, you shut down. I need to know, Alexander, are you in this or not? Because if you're not, I need to protect my heart." "I'm in," Alexander says immediately. "God, Lily, I'm so in it terrifies me." "Then why do you keep pulling away?" Lily asks, frustration bleeding into her voice. "Because I'm scared," Alexander admits. He runs a hand through his hair, looking more vulnerable than she's ever seen him. "I'm scared that I'm not enough, that you'll realize you deserve better than someone as damaged as me, that I'll screw this up like I screwed up everything else." "You're not damaged," Lily says softly. "You're hurt." "There's a difference." Alexander shakes his head. "After Victoria, I promised myself I'd never let anyone close again, that I'd never give anyone the power to destroy me. And then you came along, and you demolished every defense I had. You made me want things I thought I'd never want again. A real partnership, a real marriage. Love." His voice breaks on the last word. Lily crosses to him, taking his hands in hers. "I'm scared too," she says. I'm scared that this is just a fantasy, that when the contract ends, you'll walk away. I'm scared that I've built my happiness on something temporary, but I'd rather have this, even if it's scary, than go back to pretending I don't feel anything." "I won't walk away," Alexander says fiercely. "Not at the end of the contract. Not ever. I love you, Lily. I should have said it weeks ago, but I was too much of a coward. I'm saying it now. I love you." The words hit Lily like a wave. She's been waiting to hear them, hoping for them. But now that they're real, she doesn't know what to do. "I love you too," she whispers. "So much it terrifies me." Alexander pulls her close, and Lily buries her face in his chest, breathing in his familiar scent. They stand there holding each other, and Lily feels something settle in her chest. This is real. They're real. "I'm sorry about last night," Alexander says into her hair. "My mother had no right to say those things." "She was trying to protect you," Lily says, in her own twisted way. "She doesn't think I'm good enough for you." "Then she's wrong," Alexander says. "You're everything I didn't know I needed." They talk late into the night. Really talk. About fears and hopes and what they want their future to look like. It's not all resolved. They still have 10 months left on the contract, still have to navigate his family's skepticism and the reality of their unusual beginning. But they're committed to trying, to building something real out of something that started as fake. Over the following weeks, things shift. They're more open with each other, more honest. Alexander makes an effort to come home earlier, to be present. Lily lets him see her vulnerabilities, her fears about not belonging in his world. They have their first real fight when Alexander tries to buy out Lily's mother's medical debt without asking. "I'm trying to help," he says, frustrated. "And I appreciate that," Lily says. "But you can't just throw money at every problem. Some things I need to handle myself." "Why?" Alexander asks. "When I have the resources to make your life easier." "Because I need to feel like an equal partner," Lily says, "not someone you're rescuing." Alexander struggles with this. His instinct is to fix, to provide. But he learns to step back, to let Lily handle things her way. It's not easy, but it's progress. They also navigate his family. Mrs. Kane remains skeptical, but she's less openly hostile. Alexander's sister Caroline comes to visit, and she and Lily hit it off immediately. "You're good for him," Caroline tells Lily over lunch. "I haven't seen Alexander this open in years. He's good for me too," Lily admits, "even when he's infuriating." Caroline laughs. That's the Kane family trait. We're all infuriating, but we love fiercely when we let ourselves. The real test comes at the 6-month mark. They're at another gala, this one for Alexander's company. Lily has gotten better at these events, more comfortable in her designer dresses and small talk. But tonight feels different. Bigger. Alexander has been tense all evening, and Lily can't figure out why. During dinner, Alexander stands to give a speech about the company's quarterly results. But instead of diving into numbers, he turns to look at Lily. "6 months ago," he says, "I entered into what I thought would be a simple business arrangement, a year of marriage to satisfy a condition of my inheritance. I told myself it would be easy. No emotions, no complications, just a transaction." Lily's heart starts to pound. Where is he going with this? "But I was wrong," Alexander continues, "because the woman I married, the woman who was supposed to be just a convenient solution, became the most important person in my life. She challenged me, pushed me to be better, made me believe in love again when I thought that was impossible." He walks over to where Lily sits, kneeling beside her chair. The entire ballroom is silent, watching. "Lily Foster Kane," Alexander says, his eyes locked on hers. "I know we did this backward. I know we signed papers before we knew each other's hearts. But I want to do this right." He pulls out a ring, Not the simple band he gave her at City Hall, but a stunning diamond that catches the light. Will you marry me? Not for a contract, not for money or inheritance or obligation, but because I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life proving it. Lily's eyes fill with tears. Yes, she breathes. Yes, 1,000 times. Yes. Alexander slides the ring onto her finger, and the ballroom erupts in applause. He stands, pulling her into his arms and kissing her, like they're the only two people in the world. When they break apart, Lily is crying and laughing simultaneously. "You're insane," she tells him. "We're already married." "I know," Alexander says, grinning. "But now everyone knows it's real. Now there's no doubt." The months following Alexander's very public proposal are a whirlwind. They plan a real wedding, small and intimate, just family and close friends. Lily's mother is well enough to attend, and watching her walk Lily down the aisle, Alexander feels his throat tighten with emotion. This is what family looks like. This is what love looks like. They honeymoon in Italy, 2 weeks of no work, no obligations, just them. They explore ancient ruins, eat too much pasta, make love in a villa overlooking the Mediterranean. It's perfect. It's everything Lily dreamed of, and more. But real life has a way of intruding. When they return, Alexander is immediately buried in a hostile takeover attempt. He's stressed, short-tempered, working 18-hour days. Lily tries to be understanding, but she can feel him pulling away again, the walls going back up. One night, she finds him in his study at midnight, surrounded by papers. "You need to sleep," she says gently. "I need to fix this," Alexander snaps. "If I lose this deal, I lose everything." "You won't lose everything," Lily says. "You'll lose a business deal. There's a difference." "To you, maybe," Alexander says. "But this company is my legacy. It's who I am." "No, it's not," Lily says firmly. "It's what you do. Who you are is the man who proposed to me in front of 200 people, who makes me coffee exactly how I like it, who calls my mother every week to check on her. The company doesn't define you, Alexander." He stares at her, something breaking in his expression. "What if I fail?" he asks quietly. "What if I let everyone down?" "Then you'll get back up and try again," Lily says. She crosses to him, taking his face in her hands. "But you don't have to do it alone anymore. That's what I'm here for. Let me help." "I don't know how," Alexander admits. "I've always handled everything myself." "Then learn," Lily says, "because I'm not going anywhere, and I refuse to watch you work yourself into an early grave. It's a turning point." Alexander starts delegating more, trusting his team. He makes time for dinner with Lily, for weekends away. He's not perfect at it, still struggles with the need to control everything, but he tries. And Lily sees the effort, appreciates it. They're building a real life together, one with fights and makeups, lazy Sunday mornings and stressful weekdays. It's messy and complicated and absolutely real. The hostile takeover fails, but Alexander survives it, stronger for having weathered the storm. As their first anniversary of the contract approaches, they're both reflective. "A year ago, I signed a piece of paper thinking I was entering a business arrangement," Lily says. They're in bed, Lily curled against Alexander's chest. "I never imagined I'd actually fall in love. I never imagined I'd let myself," Alexander admits, his fingers trailing through her hair. "But I'm glad I did." "Me too," Lily whispers. On the actual anniversary of their contract, Alexander surprises Lily with a picnic in Central Park. It's unseasonably warm for late fall, and they spread a blanket under a tree, watching people pass by. "I brought something," Alexander says. He pulls out a folder, and Lily recognizes it immediately. "The contract." "I thought we should do this together," Alexander says. He opens it to the signature page, their names stark in black ink. "That contract saved my mother's life," Lily says quietly. "I'll always be grateful for that. But it also gave me you. So really, it gave me everything." Alexander produces a lighter. "Should we?" Lily nods. They hold the contract together and set it ablaze. They watch it burn, the paper curling and blackening, the words disappearing. "No more contract," Alexander says. "Just us." "Just us," Lily agrees. The ashes scatter in the breeze, carried away into the afternoon light. And sitting there in the park, Lily realizes something. She's not the same person who walked into that law office a year ago, desperate and afraid. She's stronger now, braver, loved. Alexander isn't the same either. He's softer around the edges, more open, less afraid of letting people in. They saved each other in ways neither of them expected. A few months later, Lily finds out she's pregnant. She takes 3 tests, unable to believe it. When she tells Alexander, he stares at her in stunned silence. "Say something," Lily says nervously. "We're having a baby," Alexander finally says. His face breaks into the biggest smile she's ever seen. "We're having a baby." He picks her up and spins her around, both of them laughing and crying at once. The pregnancy is hard. Lily is sick constantly, exhausted, emotional. Alexander is terrified but tries to hide it. He reads every book on parenting. Baby proofs the penthouse months too early. Drives Lily crazy with his overprotectiveness. But he's also tender, in ways that make her heart ache. He talks to her belly at night, telling their daughter about the world she'll be born into. He holds Lily when she cries from hormones and fear. He's present for every doctor's appointment, every ultrasound. When their daughter is born, tiny and perfect and screaming, Alexander cries. Lily has never seen him cry before. "She's beautiful," he whispers, holding their daughter with terrified gentleness. "She looks just like you. She has your eyes," Lily says. "Look." And she does. Slate gray eyes that will probably turn darker, but for now, mirror her father's exactly. They name her Grace, after Alexander's grandmother. The woman who set all of this in motion with her, will, and her wish for Alexander to find real love. Grace changes everything. The penthouse fills with toys and baby sounds. They hire a nanny, but both want to be hands-on parents. Alexander adjusts his schedule, works from home more. Lily starts writing again, the novel she'd abandoned years ago. She writes during naps, late at night when Grace finally sleeps. It's slow going, but it's progress. One evening, when Grace is 6 months old, Lily finds Alexander on the terrace. He's holding Grace, pointing out the city lights, telling her stories. "This is where your mom and I figured out we loved each other," he's saying. "Right here. I was scared, and she was brave. She's always been braver than me." Lily's heart swells. She joins them, slipping under Alexander's free arm. "Not braver," she says, "just willing to take a chance." Alexander kisses the top of her head. "Best chance I ever took." They stand there as a family, watching the city lights blink on as darkness falls. And Lily thinks about that contract, the one that started all of this. It was supposed to be simple. No feelings allowed. A clean transaction with a clear end date. But the best things in life are rarely simple. Love is messy and complicated and scary. It asks you to be vulnerable, to risk everything, to trust that someone will catch you when you fall. Lily took that risk. So did Alexander. And look what they built. Not just a marriage, but a family. Not just a home, but a life filled with love and laughter and sometimes tears, but always together. The contract said no feelings allowed, but they broke that rule the moment they stopped pretending. And Lily wouldn't change a single thing. Years pass. Grace grows, curious and bright and bold. They have a son, James, 2 years later. The penthouse becomes a home, filled with children's laughter and crayon drawings on expensive wallpaper that Alexander doesn't have the heart to remove. Lily publishes her novel. It becomes a modest success, and she starts a second. Alexander steps back from the company slightly, makes more time for family. They're not perfect. They still fight, still have moments of frustration. But they always come back to each other. Always remember what they almost lost. On their 10th wedding anniversary, the real one, not the contract one, they renew their vows. This time, Grace and James stand with them, holding rings. Alexander's vows make Lily cry. 10 years ago, he says, I thought I was buying a year of convenience. Instead, I found a lifetime of love. You are my home, Lily Foster Kane, my heart, my everything. Thank you for breaking the contract. Thank you for breaking my walls. Thank you for saying yes. Lily's vows are equally tear-filled. You were supposed to be temporary, she says, a means to an end. But you became my beginning. My always. You taught me that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real. That sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected places. I love you, Alexander Kane. I'll love you until my last breath. They kiss, and their children cheer, and everyone cries. Later, at the reception, Lily and Alexander slip away to the terrace, the same terrace where everything changed. Remember when you asked if this was still fake? Lily says. Alexander pulls her close, swaying to the distant music. Best question I ever asked. Because your answer changed my life. Mine too, Lily admits. She rests her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Strong and steady and real, they dance in the moonlight. And Lily thinks about that scared girl who signed a contract a decade ago, who thought she was selling a year of her life. She had no idea she was actually finding it. The contract said, no feelings allowed. But some rules are meant to be broken, and Lily and Alexander broke theirs beautifully. What did you think of their story? Share your thoughts in the comments.